Hello, everyone. It's Mary White. We are back once again for episode number 94 of Chamber TV. We are on live on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, and we have a great guest today. We're going to be talking about food, and we're going to talk about voting, and you'll see what I'm talking about in just a minute. We're going to be talking about charitable giving. We're going to be talking about things that we have learned during the COVID-19 pandemic. And we're going to be talking about human kindness and the best of humanity coming out during this period. So we have a great guest, and that is Bob Burke. And Bob, as many of you know, is the proprietor of Pot au Feu restaurant in downtown Providence. Longtime Rhode Island institution, been there a million times, Bob, and I certainly, I miss seeing you directly. And Bob is also the chief, I'll call him the chief bon vivant officer from Pot au Feu too. So CBO, Bob. So you are there, you're at the restaurant, you have been there since day one doing good deeds. So it's so great to see you, and welcome to Chamber TV.
Hey, Laurie, great to be here. Thank you so much. And thank you for everything you're doing during COVID and everything that the Chamber's doing. I know it's been challenging, but I think you guys have done a great job of adapting and continuing to get a lot done. So we really appreciate that in the business community.
Well, we have a great team, and we have great members who are there for one another. And you, at the top of the heap, Bob, you have been such a philanthropist through the entire time of your professional career. You are a leader in so many respects, and we are deeply indebted to everything that you do for the community and for the Chamber. So it's great to be able to have you here today to talk about what it's like behind the scenes at Pot au Feu restaurant and some of the things that you're involved in today that are giving you joy. So let me just throw it open to you. Tell us a little bit about what's happening at the restaurant for some of our listeners and viewers who may not be 100% acquainted with your fabulous restaurant.
Well, first of all, we've been a fixture, and thank you for those nice words. I really don't deserve those kind of accolades, but I'll thank you for them. And of course, Pot au Feu was the beginning of the Providence restaurant renaissance. Started out in 1972. Back then, people didn't know what quiche or crepes were. It was the first restaurant where you could really get something other than steak, spaghetti, or chow mein. And once it got going, it just became an unbelievable part of the culture and the community downtown. People loved it. And we've still got people coming today who say, wow, we had our first date here back in 1972, And it's amazing. It's amazing to be part of something like that. What I realized is my wife started there in 1980 as a server, and then we bought it in 1986. And shortly thereafter, you think, oh, we went to the closing, I bought it. And what you realize all of a sudden is that actually the people of Providence and the people of Rhode Island really own the Pot au Feu. We made a little change in one thing, and somebody was like, oh my God, you can't do that. I realized, wow, this dressing, these breads, these pâtés, people have took ownership of them, and they were really protective of them. So it's been a great run, and we really thank everybody in Rhode Island and beyond who's helped keep us going all these years.
Yeah, so you're right. I can see the tables. I can see the bread, the butter, the dipping, the quiche Lorraine. I can see the kitchen area in my mind's eye, and then I can also see upstairs the beautiful salon that you had created. So, while we're on the subject, I know you've got a lot of, great projects in the works, but while we're talking about the facilities and, what you're doing to, of course, remain authentic and hold on to some of those rich memories and rich traditions that people are so fond of, you've had to make some significant changes to make the restaurant a place that people can actually dine in at and feel safe. So tell us a little bit about the innovations that you have brought, especially upstairs.
Well, yeah. So what we've done is there's a brilliant guy who we had access to very early on, who's quite nearby. He's at the University of Massachusetts at Dartmouth. His name is Professor Aaron Bromwich, Australian PhD, brilliant guy. And I got on to reading him very early after the March shutdown. And I really, I love science. I always love science. And I knew right away when I heard things like masks don't protect you, I was like, that's wrong. Masks do protect you. I've worked in construction for many years before the restaurant business. I knew about that, and I knew that masks do work. So one of the first things we did, we bought our masks in February before even the shutdown came, and we bought respirators for our employees so that they would be fully protected. And we really then began to pull on the threads of, what are we going to do? And the big thing that Dr. Bromwich really came up with was the fact that this was airborne. He's the guy who put the studies together, the Chinese restaurant study, the airplane study, the choir study. He did office studies, and he pulled all of these together into a compendium and said, what's the common element? The common element is this is airborne. And we know how to treat airborne contaminants. I mean, there are clean rooms here in Rhode Island that are making pharmaceuticals. There are clean rooms here in Rhode Island that are making all kinds of advanced electronic equipment. There are planes that we fly on that don't have, the ability to bring extra air in from outside, so they clean the air that is in the cabin. And, the way we do this is through filtration. And what we knew is, I said, just a few blocks from the restaurant is Rhode Island Hospital, where they cut you open, take your heart out, put a new heart in, or fix your heart, and they do it all without you worrying about getting an infection. So the idea was, what do we need to do to make sure that our air is that clean? And this has been the thing, when people say indoor, outdoor. What's the difference between indoor and outdoor? The difference is the quality of the air. Outdoors, large volume of air in steady circulation, constantly diluting what we're breathing out. It also has a much higher ion content. Scientifically, ions purify the air. They attach to anything in the air. They cause it to fall to the ground. It's like putting anchors on a plane. It's going to crash. And when these virus particles and droplets are floating and the ions attached to them, it weighs them down and they descend, where they end up safely on the floor. And the other thing that happens in the air is outdoors is we've got sunlight. And sunlight shines down with UVA, UVB, and UVC rays. In fact, people remember when the ozone layer was depleting. And the big concern is letting these UV rays in, which were going to cause cancers and create all kinds of problems. So it turns out that what we're able to do scientifically is to treat the air that's indoors in a way that it begins to have the characteristics of outdoor air. We can move it faster with circulators and fans. We can add ions to it. We can filter out the damaging particles. And we can also shine those UV rays on it. So that's what we did. We went to work and we completely remade every bit of the way air circulates and is cleaned and is filtered. We used the same filters that they use in an operating room. We installed UVC lighting to constantly, every bit of air that circulates through our ducts now goes through a UV tunnel. And that's killing all of the things that are in the air. And then the second big thing we knew, and we came to know, that everybody was afraid at the beginning of contact. They're spraying packages. They're afraid to touch anything. People had gloves on. We came to know after a little while that the contact was a threat, but nowhere near the threat of the droplets coming from breathing in and breathing out. So we went after the contact also. When you reach for our front door handle, there's a fabric on there that contains ions that are killing bacteria and viruses constantly. So if somebody touches it and they've got it, within seconds, it's already starting to be decomposed by these. We got a temperature scanner right on the wall. You don't have to wait for somebody to come over and shoot you. You take your own, you do your own assessment when you walk in. You go to the restroom, there's touchless soap, touchless paper, touchless water, touchless flush. You don't have to touch anything. The handle, we've got the protective wrapping on that also. Sanitizers all throughout. Our staff are wearing real KN95 masks, not some piece of cloth where somebody said, hey, make a mask for yourself and come to work. No, that's not good enough. It's not good enough for our employees. It's not good enough for our customers. So we really rethought all these things. And then, as you were alluding to earlier, what a charming dining room, 1875 building. How do you hang a chunk of ugly plexiglass in that and expect any kind of decent result? Well, we couldn't. So without using 1 square inch of plexiglass, we installed ceiling to floor mahogany and glass partitions. So everybody is in their own separate alcove.
Wow.
Between those are air purifiers that have 5 levels of filtration, particulate, charcoal, HEPA. They've got ionization and circulation values. So, we're monitoring the air, we're cleaning the air, we're making sure that the contact surfaces, that there's no transfer. And we even have a little kit. I think we probably have the only one in the country, a little kit that if somebody accidentally coughed or sneezed on you, we prepared a kit with tissues, wipes, and you wouldn't want to put sanitizer in your mouth or up your nose, but we found a product that actually works. It's grain alcohol. It kills the virus. You can actually swig it and safely give it a little spritz in your nasal passages. It's not going to hurt you because it's a perfectly safe substance to ingest. But we've even thought it out down to that level. So,
not too much of it, though.
That's a lot of stuff, I know, but it was a lot to do, but we made it happen.
So you have a multi-point checklist too, right?
Yeah, if you go to our website, you can assess the safety of any restaurant that you want to go to. So we've got a restaurant evaluation tool, and it's on the website. And what you can do is you can put in the name of any restaurant that you want to go to and assess. And what you're also able to do then is to go down a checklist, which is divided up into all these different categories. So you can check off a number of different things. So if the restaurant has made improvements in the airflow, you can check that off. If they've got the right filtration, you get to check that off. If they've got the right masks, if they've got the right contact controls, if they're fogging, everything that you can do. And there's over 100 points on it. And at the end of it all, each check off adds different point values to it. And at the end, it will tell you on a scale whether or not the facility you're thinking of going to is a safe facility or one that you should skip until there's vaccines. So we try to take those tools and give them out and let other restaurants do a self-assessment. And also let customers do an assessment so that they know they're safe.
So how would you know if you were thinking about going to a restaurant, if what grade filtration they have, like whether it's MERV 13 or MERV 8 or MERV 10 filters? And if
Lori, I'm impressed. You know your MERVs. I love that.
UV,
Very good.
the lighting is,
I like the scale. That's great.
I do. Well,
yeah.
Plus, I know that MERV 13 filters are impossible to get right now. You have to, unless you have a very reputable and unless you buy a lot so that you're first on the allocation list. But there's a couple of month wait for MERV 13. So people are filling the gaps using 8s, 9s, 10s, 11s, et cetera.
Well, again, once you know the science, there's things that you can do. All right. So we actually have MERV 15s because we've been doing this so long. We've got sources and we're getting things I know that are in short supply and difficult to get. We've got a big stock of the KN95s for our employees. But one of the things that you can actually do is you can double up the filters. Okay. So, the filters we used to be 1 inch thick. The filters we use now are 4 inches thick. But there are workarounds with it. And, you wouldn't be able to put two together and say, oh, what's this rating? What does that work out to? But knowing that you've done that, the big problem you get into with HVAC is the fan only has a certain capacity. And after a while, the multiple layers of filters begin to slow it down. So you have to make adjustments in fan speed and things like that. But it is doable. One of the simplest things any business can do is to use a box fan and a HEPA filter. That's an innovation that's out there. Dr. Bromwich has said it doesn't have to be highly sophisticated, that you can do this with a lot of simpler things. So a box fan and a HEPA filter, those are about 2,000 CFM. You want to get 6 air changes per hour in your room. It's very achievable. It's very achievable. So, even at the Home Depot, there's stuff that you can use to make it way, way safer.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't do surgery on table 15 as of yet, but we're getting close.
Okay, so these are questions that people can ask, any of the restaurant managers to fill in the details, because you've got all the questions laid out. So how's it working? Are you fielding a full dining room to the extent that you've maintained the per square footage occupancy requirements?
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing a great response to the idea. Our goal when I did this was to say we want to be America's safest restaurant. There's got to be, one of the restaurants in America is got to be the safest one. And we think we are. You don't really need the evaluation tool. You can just come to Pot of Fur. Why go to those other places and go through that rigmarole when you can just come to the Pot and know we've already done it. But one of the things that we really wish had happened with this is that we proposed this to our health department, our governor, and commerce, and couldn't even get a conversation with them about the idea. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we use this as an incentive to businesses and said to them, hey, if you are willing to make these changes to your business and certify them, you would be put in a special category of businesses who could stay open even when a general shutdown was going to happen. That would have provided enormous incentives to every business to go ahead and make it. The other thing that would have been great is if the state had said, you can use some of this funding for permanent changes rather than very temporary things like a heater or a blanket, which maybe get us 3 extra weeks in autumn and spring. And one of the things that Dr. Bromwich pointed out to me, which is brilliant, it's so smart, is that if we made these changes permanently in our schools, for instance, these just don't filter out COVID. They're filtering out influenza. They're filtering out the common cold. They're filtering out all kinds of things that asthmatics have problems with. They're filtering out pollen. They're filtering out dust. They're filtering out allergens that are in the air. Now, if we were to make all of our school buildings safer by putting in this high quality filtration, and again, it's not that expensive, but if you think about the savings in man hours, the savings in missed school, the savings to the healthcare system, it's expensive. For the price of a visit to the pediatrician, for a price of the visit to the emergency room, we could have created a healthier population of students, healthier workers in all of our workplaces, because once you put them in, you just turn them on every day. They're there, they're working, and they have this benefit of removing all of the viruses and bacteria. So it's not just COVID that we're fighting. We're also working to make a much healthier workplace across the board, because all of these things that can make people sick are now getting stuck to that filter, are now getting bombarded by the UV light. And we think it would have been a great, and we hope for 2021 that the state will respond and see that, we don't need to just keep doing temporary measures. It's time to institute permanent measures. It's time to take some of this money that's been available and put it to these permanent measures, because they have lasting benefits, and they've got a cost benefit analysis that if we do it, has enormous returns on the backside in terms of reducing healthcare costs and making a healthier workforce and a healthier population of students, and in general, a healthier population of people in Rhode Island. So we really want to hope that we can get some traction with this, get our leaders to begin to listen to it, because it makes a load of sense. And when you talk to people like Dr. Bromage, you realize the science is there. It exists. It's doable. It's just we need to deploy it.
So during this period, what's been your most popular dinner entree? What are people eating?
As always, that beef bourguignon is, it's. I think our menu is full of comfort foods, and people love that. It's French onion soup, beef bourguignon, creme brulee. I mean, it's just,
Can you do any better than that? I know. What about the salad with the mustard dressing, huh?
Oh, that mustard dressing, my gosh, that is liquid gold. People just love that. Yeah. And the escargot, a couple orders come out, and the garlic fills the room, and then all of a sudden every table has to have it. It's so fun.
Makes me want to get in my car and drive a half an hour north and pull up to your door, and oh my gosh,
we're open tonight, Lori. Come on down. We're open tomorrow night. We're doing 2 nights a week of indoor dining. That's one of the things in the city. We sit on a stool that has like 6 legs. The convention center, the hotels, the colleges, the business community, the theaters, water fire. None of those is happening. So when we looked at it to say, are we going to be open 7 nights a week, 5 nights a week, 2 nights a week? The thing we really are finding downtown right now is that without those feeder businesses going, that it's really, really not sustainable. And by Friday or Saturday, people do want to get out. They want to come out. But that's one of the big challenges the city has right now, is how do we get that feeder business coming back into the city? How do we get those habits back? How do we get people to recognize that, they can come back down to the city even though the theaters aren't open? And right now, big challenge for us, is so many people were like, hey, we got theater tickets. We're going to the Pot, and we're going up to PPAC, or we're going to the Pot, and we're going to Christmas Carol. So that's a little different, and it's a lot of challenge. I know other restaurants down are challenged by that also. We're not that close to a lot of residences where people just say, oh, it's only down the street, let's go.
Well, our good friend Dimitri at Cafe Nuovo has taken a pause as well, and so this is a very sobering, challenging times for all of our favorite restaurateurs, and we extend our thoughts and prayers to all of you as you continue to manage and do the best you can, under these circumstances, and be creative. So I think you've demonstrated a lot of that.
Well, Lori, a lot of it, and as I'm saying right now, that a lot of the tall timber is falling in downtown. Gracie's, unfortunately, has had to seek receiver protection. Cafe Nuovo, a lot of other places that are experiencing a lot of difficulty. And, restaurateurs go into the business and they tend to be emotional. You watch restaurateurs run around their place and they're always agitated and excited. And, it really is a pain that every one of us feels when another restaurant has any kind of difficulty. I think in some businesses, it's very competitive. It's very cutthroat. And the restaurant business is very competitive, but there's this camaraderie in our business that we know we're in the same boat. We know that it's a different kind of business. It's a very, very intense business. And, it's when one restaurant hurts, I think we all hurt. And my heart goes out to my compatriots and to their employees, to their customers. These are assets that we worked long and hard to have in our city. It's heartbreaking to see them diminished, both from a standpoint of the strength of our economy, the strength of our city, But the human toll that this takes on people with the uncertainty and the inability to put that paycheck on go to the store, pay the rent, buy the food. That's the moment that is really crushing for everybody because as I say, it's I don't want to diss accountants, but they're kind of cold-hearted. I mean, they're not as emotional as restaurateurs get. And we really do feel it. And I just want to say to all of them and also to others who are struggling, you lay awake at night and you stare at the ceiling at 3 o'clock in the morning. And it's a tough time. It's a tough time for everybody. And just recognize that it's not you that failed. This isn't happening because you're not good at what you do. It's not because you're not smart. It's not because you're not talented. And it most certainly is not because you didn't work hard enough. This is happening because of things that are so far beyond your control. So don't beat yourself up about it. Don't blame yourself. The day will come, you dust yourself off and get back up and do it all over again. But it's important that people know that mental health right now is very important. And it's really important that we recognize that about our fellow business owners and their employees, and that we remain cognizant of that as a business community. Our business community has to have some heart in addition to everything else that we do.
That's very beautiful and very well said. And I think you struck a chord there because people don't maybe internalize it to the extent that you just did, and be able to just try to empathize with with folks that are had to make, as Dimitri said, he says from a business perspective, it was an easy decision to make, it was very clear, but from an emotional perspective, and then also, the employees that you have that have been like family for an entire, life cycle of the business, different generations of family members in the business, that's where it gets really hard.
Yeah, and I think the recognition too is that it's kind of an extended family in a lot of ways. And when customers come to us, they come to us with the most important moments of their lives. They come to us for their anniversary. You can't replicate that 40th anniversary. It's not coming around again. Those important birthdays. You're only going to turn 60 once, and I think the great restaurateurs in this city, and there are many of them, recognize that passages, retirements, weddings, rehearsals, all of those things, they put them in our hands and they say, I'm going to trust you to make sure this goes well, that we're going to give you some of our lives, some of our family moments. And you really can mess them up on us if you don't know what you're doing and you don't do it right. And I think that's a trust that our customers give us. You go down and, you got to buy dish detergent. Well, there's not that same level that's going on. And in most of the transactions that we do every day that involve any kind of activity, commercial activity, there's not that kind of trust that's involved with it. And I think that's the thing that we all appreciate in the restaurant business, is that the community trusts us and they put things in our hands that they want us to give back to them unbroken. And it's really important that we do that. And that's why I think it hurts everyone. It hurts not just the employees, not just the owners, but it hurts the community as a whole. Also, that incredible group of customers who support us.
Well, speaking of unbroken, there are some things that you do want to break. And are you still doing the the Sabre champagne bottle trick, which is
the champagne bottle is the craziest thing ever.
Everyone knows everyone knows you do this so well.
Slicing open bottles of champagne. I could have never guessed that would be And, Lori, it took on a life of its own. I mean, all of a sudden, I was doing it at the restaurant, and then people wanted it done at big weddings in Newport and at the mansions and for corporate events. And the next thing you know, I was on a plane being flown first class round trip to Paris for a 60th birthday party to saber open a bottle of champagne at the Eiffel Tower. I mean, it just doesn't get any crazier. I've done it at the Super Bowl. I went out and, done it for all these different events across the country. And it's a completely wacky idea. It's a load of fun. It goes back to Napoleon's time. So yes, I'm still sabering, and in fact, I'm kind of concocting a big time sabering for when this is over, and we're going to finally celebrate the end of COVID. And I can't think of a better way to this than to send a giant bottle of Moet and all of its contents rocketing up into the sky to finally, put the end to COVID. That would be, that's one I'm really, really looking forward to. I've got a special bottle for it already, and that's something we're going to be doing in 2021 for sure.
Well, I hope when you sabered it at the Eiffel Tower, I hope it worked.
It's on the website. It went off like a rocket. It was really amazing. And the really fun part is that I did it. And I said, okay, everybody, here, we're going to have the toast. And we had the toast. And I said, let's go. And they said, well, can we hang around? I said, why don't we go ahead and get moving? And we got back in they had gotten a limo. We got back in the limo. And as we went off, there were all of these police cars converging on the area. And they said, whoa, what's going on? I said, I'm pretty sure the security cameras picked up a sword-wielding guy out on that plaza. And they said, what do you mean? You had a permit, right? I said, no, you can never get a permit, something like that with the French. I said, the only thing we had to do was walk up, do it, and leave. And it was hilarious watching as we drove off with all the lights and those crazy French sirens going. Yeah. And I said, no, the French bureaucracy is such that I could live the rest of my life waiting for that permit to come. We just needed to go ahead and, as the French would call it, a fait accompli.
Fait accompli, yes. Well, that's why I call you Chief Bon Vivant Officer, because you never fail to deliver an inventive and fun and exciting solution. So speaking of that, I wanted to ask you about the essay contest that you have become a global finalist in. So 500 words to talk about, how you have been touched by COVID, the situation, the business. And so tell us about the Barclays competition and how we can help push you over the top as the winner of $50,000 prize. So I want to know all about it.
This is crazy. So, you get your emails, and like everybody, you're like, zing, 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 delete, 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 And this was back in October, and I see this come on from Barclays Bank. I think it's, yet another credit card offer. And, for some reason it caught my eye, and I stopped because it said small business, and it said essay contest. And then I kind of got engaged and said, whoa, there's a $50,000 grand prize for writing a 500-word essay. And I know that there's none of the teachers in my past would ever believe that I got an essay in on time, ever, even 500 words. But I wrote it and submitted it October 31st, and thought, there's entries from all over the country. There's a lot of talented small business owners out there. And I thought, hey, but if you don't try, you can't win. It's like the lottery. That's what I felt like. I felt like it was a lottery entry. And sure enough, mid-November, I got an email that said, you have been selected by the jury. They've read almost 3,000 essays from across the country, and your entry has been selected to be in the top 10 in the nation. And voting opened for 10 days. It closes this Monday at midnight, and people are voting from all over. Every one of the 10 businesses is reaching out to anyone they've ever known, whoever even thought the word pot au feu, Never mind there. In order to get people to go online, cast their vote in hopes of winning the top prize of $50,000, which goes to the business. It's not an individual prize. It's a business prize so that your business can increase its chances of surviving the pandemic. It's money that's going to go to our paychecks. It's money that's going to go to keep us going. It's money that's going to go to pay expenses and make sure that we're there for our 50th anniversary, which is coming up in a year and a half. So how you can vote. If you go to potipharri.com, link,
you just have to decide here.
There's a link, and you just click to vote. Okay, I want to show you how really easy it is. Okay, so there it is. That's what you're going to see. Small business wins big. I don't know. There it is. Small business wins big. Barclays. That's a picture of our volunteers. That was after the riots, and they all came. And watch how easy this is. You just scroll down. Okay. There's the, oh, you can't quite see that, but you scroll down and you get to the bottom. And all you're going to do is put in here, well, I'm going to put in Bob. And then it's going to autofill my Bob at robertiburke.com, and I click vote, and I'm done. That's how long it takes to vote. You just watched it. No big deal.
I'm going to call it up on my phone.
Yeah.
Here it is.
Strokes. Easy peasy.
Yeah.
No money. We don't want your money. Well, we want your money, but not for this. It couldn't be simpler. Here's the great news. There had to have been someone from Rhode Island on the rules committee. You can vote early and often. So you can vote every day during the 10 days. So you can put in 10 votes. That's music to any true Rhode Islander's ears.
Right.
And importantly, you can use any email. You cannot create an email account to vote. That's not allowed. But any email account that you already have, your personal, your business, anything that you've got, you can go in and vote multiple times. Now, I can hear right now Rhode Islanders going, oh my God, this is a dream come true. I mean, we love to vote in Rhode Island. That's such a thing. You know, they say there's people who love to vote so much in Rhode Island, they come back from the dead every election to vote. And, you know, we've got a great tradition in Rhode Island of voting. We were one of the early real democratic states. You know, Roger Williams believed in democracy and voting. So it's in our DNA in Rhode Island more than any other place in America, I think. And we're asking people to go, and you can go to the link right there. I just did
it. Well, that order, you know, listed everybody just to prove how easy it was. So Bob was, you know, describing the situation. So while he was doing it, I got on my phone and I just put in my name and my email address and I hit vote. And it was really simple. So potipharri.com, just go there and it's right at the top. And, you know, I will be utilizing a multitude of email addresses that I have at my disposal, Bob, just to do my part.
Great. Awesome. And I want to, the other thing I do want to say is I would love people to read the essay.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what did you write in the essay that was so, you know, 3,000 entries from all over the world. You're the top, you know, you come in as part of the top 10. So read us a little bit of it if you have it handy, like read us a paragraph or two and
sure.
Show us what was coming from your heart.
You know, I'd be happy to do that. So let me just pull it up here quick, Lori. And, you know, the idea that really what it was about is I said, you know, even if I don't win this thing, you know, or if I don't get it, it's an opportunity for me to say thank you to all of the people who work for me, all of the customers who came for curbside, all of the, you know, the people who tried to help us out and, you know, to to help make this work. Okay, so now I got to find the thing. There it is. Barclays big win essay. All right. I think I need stronger glasses, right? It starts out with a big picture. So I'll just tell you this. Eons ago, our starving ancestors divided. After a bountiful harvest or hunt, some hoarded alone in cold, dark caves. Others gathered together, sharing life-sustaining food. Dining was born. We still love it and crave it. Today, restaurateurs are the gatherers of food, friends, and community. And then I'll skip down, it kind of took through some of the different things that happened, So one of them here is dumpster fire, a 2020 metaphor, but ours was real. An arsonist set a raging dumpster fire feet from our kitchen, minutes from destroying everything. And then rioters rampaged. We boarded up, serving from our plywood cave, afterwards joining the marchers, okay? And then I go into the, suddenly came a huge idea. Make Potiphar the safest restaurant in America. And I talk about how we did that. And then the really important one for me is this paragraph. And it says, I work with heroes. They've helped caregivers, customers, artists, and each other. They battled fear, disease, injustice, fire, riots, regulations, shutdowns, shortages, and despair. We find our way anew every day, winning without whining, endlessly reinventing. And there's just a little bit more after that, so I won't ruin the ending. Spoiler alert, I won't ruin the ending, but there's a couple of teasers from the essay, and it was just really important to me that I have an opportunity to thank the people who still have us going. We've got a bartender who is 34 years with us, underlying conditions. We're not going to ask him back until we really know it's safe. We've got a server, 24 years, mom, 4 beautiful children, 2 of them autistic twins. That's not a person we're going to ask to expose herself to any danger ever. But we want to be there when she's ready to come back. And another server who started as a teenager and now is mother of 2 and rising from some domestic stuff, and 23 years with us. And when you've got employees who've given that much under difficult circumstances, I mean, working in a restaurant's no day at the beach, that's for sure. And it was really important to me that I say thank you to all of those people and more. Even the J&W kid who I keep going, are you sure you want to stay in this business? Like, really? She's in school and she's fervent. She wants to do it. So we've got it on bookends of the newbies and the vets. And, it's it was just a great moment to be able to say thank you to them. And thank you to our incredible, incredible customers who just, no matter what, keep on coming.
Mm-hmm. Winning without whining.
Yeah. No whining allowed. You can't whine if you're in the only wine in the restaurant is in the bottle. That's the rule, It's funny, many years ago I was asked to be the commencement speaker up at Amos House for their class. They teach these incredible skills to people who really need a place in our workforce. And the hospitality class was graduating, and they asked me to speak. And I said to them all, okay, I'd like you all, they're all dressed in their uniforms. They look so great. And I said, I want you to all stand up. And they all stood up. I said, I want you to all sit down. And they all sat down. They kind of looked at each other like, what was that about? I said, that is the last time anyone is ever going to tell you to sit down in your business again. Said, you'll never hear the words sit down in the restaurant business again. You are going to be on your feet the rest of your career. And, they got it. They got a big laugh out of it. But that's the way it is. And that's the kind of stuff that people give every day to us. And I just wanted to let them know.
Yeah. That's really beautiful. And some of those scenarios that you are describing, it's, it's a microcosm within your restaurant, a microcosm of society. So we as customers go in and we're celebrating something important or some fancy occasion, but behind the scenes, there's the faces of folks who, God knows what's going on in their world, that they have to just, put the blinders on and just, keep moving during the course of the day and be part of somebody else's celebration. And I imagine that's hard at times.
We have a saying, leave it at the door. Leave it at the door. Whatever your problem is. And I've told my employees this for many, many years, is that if you come to work with your problems, then you every day live with your problems night and day. If you get to my door and you leave the problem sitting outside, at least you got 8 or 10 hours where the problem sits outside. And you can clear your mind, you can get things done. We know you're going to pick them back up and take them home or do whatever with them. They're not going to go away, but we want you, when you're inside this door, to feel that you're in a place where you're safe and where we're going to work hard and we're going to focus on other people and what they need and getting that for them. And that's the real beauty of the restaurant business. That's the essence of the word service. There's no question about it. That's put down what is more important to you and do something that is more important for somebody else.
Yeah, well, it's great that you give your employees permission to do that. So everybody needs permission, I think, psychologically, to do what you just said, to, put my problems, leave them at the door for 8 or 9 hours. So I want to get back to the voting. So I just want to wrap this up by saying, you have a lot of great customers. I know one in particular has been amazing. You've been partnering, you've been providing food for the community to folks that don't have sufficient food for their own families and their own tables. You've been delivering, you've been working to feed our healthcare staff at the nearby hospitals. So you have been incredibly busy, and I hope that was all part of your narrative to Barclays, that we will look forward to celebrating with you when the decision is announced. But just wrap up by maybe touching on those points about some of the philanthropic work that you're doing in conjunction with your customers, and then leave us with a reminder again of how we can vote and the deadline.
You bet. So, I first of all, don't give me that credit. I'm part of a team. I'm part of a group of people who are doing this. And one of our great customers, very successful couple from Barrington, David and Emberly Pridham, came to us right after the lockdown. They realized the depth of this problem. They got right away how serious this was and was going to be. And they are just a wonderful community-minded family. They've got a couple of kids that they're, raising, and it meant a lot to them to be able to give back to the community in a time of need. And they reached out. They came to me and they said, we really want to do this. We're not just interested in feeding the frontline caregivers. We want them to have the kind of experience they would have if they could come down here to the pot that they said, that they had enjoyed so many times at our tables. They wanted it to be a break, a refuge, a safe harbor from the madness of the ICU and the hospital and the masks and all those demands. So, they said, we want the real pot au feu experience. So we put together a 4-course menu, French onion soup, our little salad verte, the French green salad with 2 dressings, the house vinaigrette and the raspberry vinaigrette, the crumbled blue cheese, the loaf of warm French bread, beef bourguignon, potatoes, vegetable, pot de chocolat for dessert with the whipped cream, and even a fresh cut rose, because we always have fresh cut roses on the table in the bistro. And, to their credit, it wasn't just about, oh, we need to get calories into these people. They realized that what everybody who is so stressed and beaten down needed was a moment with the people they love, to be able to take a breath, collect themselves, regenerate themselves a little, have a little moment of renaissance. And there's no better way to do that with a meal with people you love. And we did that all through during the spring. And then we've come back with the holidays. And the other partner in the effort is his Providence church, which is a big church group based down in Swansea, but it's got a congregation that's spread wide. And they have partnered with us to be just incredible people. John and Kim Gagney, she actually works with Lifespan and helped coordinate on the inside, getting everything done there. John has done an unbelievable job of getting volunteers. They come up in car after car and trucks, and we load up the meals and send them off, and they arrive hot. And it's just been, everybody, I'm a tiny piece. I'm a little wheel in this. I'm a little tiny piece of it. But it was great to partner with them and be able to do it. And we started back this week with meals for families. So dinners for 4. We really want these families to have a holiday dinner, comfort food, just like they would if they came to Pot-au-Fer. And we thank the Pridhams and their family trust, the Pridham Family Trust, and all the volunteers, all the people who are working so hard to bring a little comfort and joy to people, right? Isn't that what the lyrics of the song are? Comfort and joy. Yeah. So that's what we're trying to do. And don't give me credit for it. They've helped us. They've helped keep our people employed. They've helped us through times when we would have had to have done layoffs. So we're a recipient of their generosity also, and their goodness and kindness. So I want to thank them. It's really, really important.
Well, we join you in recognizing that, it just takes so many people to be able to, come together and think of things in new ways and get beyond ourselves and our own minds and see what's going on outside our own front doors that we may be oblivious to, purposely or not, right?
I think we all, we get a little myopic, and I was told, it's Hanukkah, and many, many years ago, a Jewish friend of mine told me that there's an old Jewish saying that you can take your bag of troubles and take it to temple with you and put it down and pick up anybody else's bag of troubles.
And you pick up your own.
Walk back out the door with your own. And I always think that that's instructive for us, in the holidays, and to realize that there's always, always, always somebody who needs something more than we do.
Isn't that the truth? Okay, so what time are you open till tonight?
Well, we serve until 9 because you got to be out by 10:30 because the virus sets an alarm and comes out at 10:30, I guess. I don't know. That's another one of the wacky rules we're working with. We'd love to, get with the governor and talk about some real rules. I mean, a bar is unsafe at 2 p.m. if there's people in it without masks, and it's safe at 1 o'clock in the morning if the people are doing what they're supposed to do. We'd love to focus on those kinds of things and work with, we'd love to work with our officials. We'd love to work with our regulators to sort of say, it's hard to imagine the way it is, the way a business operates. You can imagine it, but until you really run it, it's really hard to know the things that matter. So we'd love to see, at this point, some money for permanent, improvements to businesses, some policies that go directly to the issue. And we'd love to work with our officials to get that done. I think the industry as a whole is yearning for that. And we realize that they're very busy too, but we could help them smooth their path and make their regulations more effective, make them more efficient. And I'll end on that, Lori, is that you have been, I remember when you were a kid and used to come over and have lunch, okay? And when you were, learning the ropes, and you learned them so well. And you've always been a great voice, and a great contribution to our community, because you've always managed to bring people together and get people to understand different sides of the story. And, that's what you bring to the chamber that's unique and special. And you've always lived by that, and you've always operated by that in your role at the chamber. And I think that that's critically important today, where everything is divisive, everything is people barking at each other. And you just always have that great presence, that great ability to calm the waters and have people think and talk and come to better solutions than they could come to any other way. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Means a lot. So with that, we will end our time with Bob Burke, but you've been on a couple of times during this pandemic. You have taught us how to make French onion soup. You've taught us how to chop onion. You've taught us how to, source the very best ingredients and all kinds of things. You've taught us about the different kinds of onions. And so we've had a lot of fun with you. We've had a lot of really great, lighthearted moments. And then today we've talked about some more serious things. So we look forward to having you back very soon to, talk about some other things that you are working on. And in the meantime, we're going to encourage everybody to vote early and often, many times. Everybody's got a lot of email addresses. You have those email addresses that you only use when you're signing up for an email list or something like that. So we know everybody's got a bunch of them. So put them to work tonight, because the voting closes on Monday, right? Potterfur.com. Go there. He's made it easy. I just did it. You watched me right when he was talking, 10 seconds. So do it for Bob. Do it for his family at the restaurateur family. And we'll see you next time. Happy holidays. So bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.